The Pink Puff is back on the Nintendo Switch with another game. That makes 5 Kirby games on the Nintendo Switch. And what makes Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe worth buying over the others? Well, today that's what we're talking about, so let's get into it. Kirby Return to Dreamland Deluxe is a remaster of an original Wii game from 2011. It's a really fantastic Kirby experience, and the game really packs a lot of value with an entirely new game added, but we'll get into that in a little bit. First, let's talk about the gameplay of Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. It's a classic 2D platforming action game from HAL Laboratories that is a tried and true Kirby experience. You platform across several different levels and fight a multitude of fun boss fights in order to save Dreamland. You have different copy abilities that are all pretty fun to use, but the one that really stands out to me is Mech Kirby. It's so much fun and such a powerful power-up that makes you feel like an absolute beast. Mech Kirby is also really cool because they actually added that power-up to this game specifically. So this is a brand new power-up that fits seamlessly with all the other ones, but it's obviously kind of the best one. It's a ton of fun to play as. The way that they incorporated it was really, really cool. It's kind of hard to believe that this wasn't in that Wii original. This game overall, in my opinion, was a lot harder of a Kirby game than Star Allies and Kirby and the Forgotten Land were. There was also a ton of those classic Kirby puzzles where you need to activate something a specific way to open up a door and get a specific collectible. In this game, you have to collect all these different gears, and they're a pretty good time. Also, make sure that you're collecting at least a few of them in each level because you will need them to unlock higher worlds. The story is also really good with that classic, you gotta save Dreamland, something's going wrong, here's Kirby, gonna be an absolute baddie, gonna save the world, right? But what was cool about this is that there were some interesting twists and turns along the way that I really didn't see coming, and it really played into the final boss battle, and it was just like an immaculate ending in my opinion. The graphics were also pretty good for the most part, but they utilized this strange sort of outline on each of the characters that is meant to sort of make them stick out a little bit more from the backgrounds. But I didn't love the look of it. It's really my only gripe with the game, but I just don't love the use of those outlines, and I think that the character models looked a little bit better on the Wii because there was no outline. However, it doesn't look bad, it's not my favorite thing. I sort of wish they would have kept that Wii original. What do you think? Do you think the art style looks better on the Switch or worse? Let me know down below. The performance was also really good, but the best part of this game is the content that's unlocked after you beat the mainline game, Magolor's Epilogue. So good. In Magolor's Epilogue, you play as Magolor, a character that you grow very familiar with in the mainline game. He actually plays very differently than Kirby does. This game essentially shifts into a sort of beat 'em up, focused on upgrading Magolor and his abilities and getting combos. Tell me that doesn't sound exactly like a beat 'em up. So with Magolor, you can hover and you have a slew of different abilities that all round out very well. But again, it's much different than Kirby, so don't go in expecting to be stuck in enemies and gaining their powers. Instead, focus on building combos and getting the game's essentially currency in order to buy more abilities. So Magolor has like a normal front attack, a down attack, an up attack, some special attacks, and you use all of these to destroy baddies in your way. And as you destroy more and more bad guys, you basically collect this currency every time you defeat one of them, and then you can use that currency to buy more things in the skill tree. And then once you get more things in the skill tree, then you unlock more and more different abilities. Magolor has a whole moveset in of himself where he can hover, he can glide, sort of. He has some really, really cool abilities that are all unlocked in this skill tree. And tell me it's not super, super cool to have a skill tree and like a whole different beat 'em up style game in an already pre-established game being Kirby Return to Dreamland. And now we have this whole separate thing. I think it's so, so cool. This game is also a lot harder than the base game, with tougher enemies and nail-biting boss battles. Don't get me wrong, it's not Dark Souls levels or anything, but if you've been starving for a more difficult Kirby game, this is gonna be it. It's also not really a Kirby game. It's more of a Magolor beat 'em up. That's the one thing. With such solid gameplay, I didn't really expect much of a story, but that's also sort of here. It's essentially a flashback of who Magolor was before we see him in the mainline game. It's really cool and definitely works to fill out the Kirby universe a bit more. Honestly, my only complaint with it is that I wish that there was more. It was such a good time, but since it's a side mode, it's really only around 4 hours. However, this does make the pacing feel super fast and really, really fun, which I did enjoy. I think that Kirby Return to Dreamland Deluxe itself is a decent time with some tight platforming and some fun nostalgia for fans, but the real reason to get this game is for the Magolor Epilogue. Though it's not the longest thing in the world, it still is some of the most fun I've ever had with a Kirby game. This additional mode alone puts the game at the second best Kirby on Switch in my opinion. Honestly, I love that Nintendo does this kind of stuff where they add like an entirely new game into an already pre-established game. It's pretty much just so they can put it at $60, but I'll take it. When we had Mario 3D World come over and they put Bowser's Fury into that game, fantastic. That's the entire reason to buy that game. And now it's pretty much the same thing with this, and I'm excited to see what this means for the future of Nintendo like ports and stuff, and to see if we're going to get more side modes like this that really just flesh out the world and things like that. I also would love to see a full Magolor game of his own even like a $30 eShop title where it's maybe like 6 hours of content similar to what we had in this game, but like a new campaign or something would be so much fun because I'm starved for some more Nintendo beat 'em ups. Overall, I do give this package a solid 9 out of 10. It's probably extremely high to some of you, but damn, I had so much fun with it, and I gotta be honest with you guys. If you are at all a Kirby fan, you definitely need to check this one out, and before you go, check out my retrospective, I guess, of Kirby Star Allies. Remember when it launched and people were like, oh, that game sucks. Does it suck still? We talk about it. Bang, check it out.